Lily had been working double shifts at Miller's Diner for the past 3 months. Bills were piling up after her mom's surgery, and college dreams had quietly slipped into the background. Still, she smiled at every customer, poured coffee like it was gold, and made sure the lonely old man at booth 6 always got an extra scoop of whipped cream. One rainy Tuesday evening, a scruffy-looking man walked in. His jeans were worn, his hoodie soaked, and his face was hidden under a cap. He sat quietly in the corner, drawing little attention except Lily noticed everything. She brought him a cup of hot coffee without him asking. "You look like you've had a rough day," she said gently, placing the cup in front of him. He looked up briefly. "Thanks," he mumbled, barely meeting her eyes. As the hours passed, Lily kept checking on him, topping off his cup, slipping him a slice of pie on the house, and chatting between orders. The other waitresses whispered behind her back, and her manager, Mr. Dugan, frowned every time he saw her near that table. "Stop wasting time on that guy," Dugan snapped as she passed the counter. "He's not gonna tip you. He just looks tired," Lily replied quietly. "And maybe hungry." Dugan rolled his eyes. "You want to feed bums? Join a soup kitchen." This is a business. Lily didn't argue. But before closing, she handed the man a to-go bag with a sandwich and bottle of water. "Just take care of yourself, okay?" He looked at her again, this time longer. "What's your name?" "Lily." He nodded. "Thanks, Lily." The next morning, everything changed. Lily walked into work smiling, but Mr. Dugan was already red-faced and pointing. "Pack your stuff. You're done here." "What? Why? You disobeyed me. You gave away food. You embarrassed this place." She opened her mouth to explain, but he was already yelling. Other staff watched in silence. Her apron hit the counter, her hands trembling. Outside, the morning air was cold, but not as cold as the sting of being humiliated for simply being kind. Lily sat on the curb outside Miller's Diner, her apron clutched in her lap like it still held her dignity. Cars passed by without a glance. Her phone buzzed, but she didn't check it. Who would she even call? Her mom was still recovering, and Lily didn't want to worry her. She had no backup plan, no savings, just a kind heart and an empty bank account. Later that day, she walked home in the drizzle, shoes soaked and soul heavier than ever. By evening, she was scrolling job listings on her cracked phone while heating up canned soup. Every listing either wanted a degree or 5 years of experience, things she didn't have. The next morning, Lily woke up early and headed to the job center. She handed in her resume, smiled at strangers, and lied through her teeth about being between jobs by choice. Just before noon, she got a call from an unknown number. "Is this Lily?" A calm, composed voice asked. "Yes." "Who's this?" "My name's Greg. I own Brookstone Enterprises." Lily blinked. I think you have the wrong person." "No, I don't," he said. "You gave me pie and a sandwich. You called me sir, even though I looked like I didn't belong. And you treated me with more kindness than most people do when I'm wearing a $5,000 suit." Her heart skipped. "You're that guy from the diner?" "Yes, I'm also the new owner of Miller's Diner. Bought it last month as part of a downtown revitalization deal." Lily's mouth fell open, but no words came out. "I came in undercover," Greg continued, "wanted to see the place for myself before remodeling it. What I saw was a broken system and a waitress who didn't follow the rules but did the right thing." Lily's voice trembled. "Why are you telling me this? Because I want to offer you a job." "A job, yes. A full-time position at Brookstone HQ. Front desk, great pay, benefits. But more than that, I want people like you representing my company." People with heart tears welled up in her eyes. She had spent 24 hours feeling like she was nothing. Now someone saw her as valuable. "When can you start?" Greg asked. Lily smiled through the tears. "Tomorrow. I'll be there." Lily stood in front of the towering glass building that housed Brookstone Enterprises, clutching a small handbag and wearing the only blazer she owned. It wasn't designer, but it was clean and pressed. As she walked through the lobby, her heels clicking against polished marble floors, she couldn't help but feel like she didn't belong. But then she saw Greg, clean-shaven, confident, wearing a sharp navy suit. He smiled and walked toward her like they'd been friends for years. You made it, he said warmly. I wasn't about to turn this down, Lily replied, nerves hiding behind a smile. Greg introduced her to the front desk team, then personally walked her through orientation. Everyone was polite, but she caught a few curious glances, like they were trying to figure out why the CEO was spending so much time with the new girl. By lunch, Lily was settling into her desk, answering phones and greeting visitors. It wasn't glamorous, but the air smelled like fresh coffee, not burnt grease. The office buzzed with energy, and for the first time in weeks, Lily felt steady. Over the next few days, she learned fast. She picked up names, routines, and little things that made people feel welcome. She smiled even when tired, just like she used to at the diner, only now people noticed. Even higher-ups complimented her on her warmth and professionalism. A week later, Greg invited her to a staff meeting. She assumed it was just to observe, but as the presentation began, he turned to her. Lily, can you come up for a second? She froze. Me, he nodded. Slowly, she stepped up beside him. I want everyone here to meet the person who reminded me why we started this company in the first place, Greg said, placing a hand on her shoulder. Kindness, humanity, going the extra mile. Lily didn't have a fancy degree. She had something better: integrity. There was a long pause, then the room erupted in applause. Lily stood there, stunned. I'm promoting her, Greg continued. Effective immediately, she'll be my executive assistant. That means more responsibility and more pay. Lily's hands trembled again, but this time it wasn't from shame. It was from shock, gratitude, and something new. Hope. Weeks turned into months, and Lily flourished in her new role. She scheduled meetings, traveled with Greg to business expos, and even sat in on strategy sessions. At first, she felt out of place among executives in tailored suits, but Greg never let her doubt herself. You earned this, he'd remind her. Don't forget that she didn't. Not for a second. Back at home, her mom's health improved. They moved into a small but cozy apartment, and for the first time in years, Lily could afford groceries without calculating every cent. She started taking evening business classes, determined to grow further. Her world, once so small, was finally expanding. But one afternoon, Greg called her into his office with a curious smile. I've got something for you, he said, sliding a thick folder across the desk. She opened it and blinked in disbelief. It was the purchase contract for Miller's Diner. You're buying the diner? She asked, confused. No, Greg said with a grin. You are. Her eyes widened. What I bought it, yes, but I'm signing it over to you. Free and clear. Lily's voice shook. Why would you do that? Because I saw something in you that day. Not just kindness, but leadership. You were willing to do the right thing when it cost you everything. That's the kind of person who should run a business. Tears blurred her vision as she flipped through the pages. The diner, the place that once fired her, would now be hers. I can't accept this, she whispered. You already did, Greg said gently, the moment you gave a stranger a slice of pie. Months later, Lily reopened Miller's Diner with a new name, Lily's Place. It had a fresh coat of paint, updated booths, and a sign on the wall that read, Kindness is always on the menu. The community responded with open arms. Old customers returned and new ones arrived. Lily made sure no one left hungry, whether they could pay or not. Her staff respected her, and her story spread far beyond the town. News outlets picked it up. A waitress who was fired for compassion now owned the very place that broke her, and every now and then, a man in a navy suit would stop by, sit quietly at the corner booth, and sip a cup of coffee she never charged him for. Because some debts are paid with heart. The end.